say, Isan, this is the first time that you're speaking to the public radio in Colombia. I've been working for 34 years, so of course I've been playing Emperor, the whole collection, and especially your albums as a solo artist. So first of
Thank
all,
you.
I want to thanks for the music, man. What a records, what a multi-instrumentist, what a producer, man. You are one of my best. So thanks a lot for being here.
Oh, you're too kind, and thank you so much for helping, spread our music to your listeners as well. It takes a lot of dedication. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks for your words,
Me-
because it's true. Here is very hard because it's the tropic. The people like reggaeton and all that. That dancing music. So for me and for all of us, it's hard, but we got like a connection for like you in your country. The black metal is very important in my country. As you saw, the black metal, the metal is very important. The people here lives that in a different way, because you up
abs-
there in Norway got everything spoiled, the
mm,
education, everything, but here we don't. So that maybe that's why we have the evil in our minds, because this is a chaos, brother. But we dig a lot your
yeah,
music, and as you saw, we understand what your art is. So
absolutely.
let's talk about the last time you were here in Bogota. How you felt?
It was amazing. We just came. I think we came directly from Mexico at that point, and I mean, it was overwhelming because possibly because of you. You've been playing the songs. I mean, the crowd was so loud, even an hour before we came on stage. The audience was so loud, and it was very clear to us that they knew all the music very well because they were also singing along to every word. You know,
Okay, Sam.
yeah,
As I told you, I went to the Mexico Metal Fest, and I saw an outrageous show. Because the weather was perfect. Because it was kind of warm and rainy. And what a
mm.
show, man! What a show! That was the first time that I really saw Emperor. What a show! I hope that you guys are going to do the same playlist, or are you going to do a different one?
It's not all set yet, but of course we did play Colombia before, and not so long ago. So of course we will try to mix it up a little bit to make it worthwhile for the people who might be coming back, for this. But then again, it's an Emperor show. We have a lot of old songs, and we know, from experience that there are some kind of key classic songs that people always kind of want to hear. So we'll do our best to make it the a mixed up and a variety of songs that hopefully people will appreciate.
That's great, because just with one show it wasn't enough. And something, Isan, this is the first time that a major metal band like yours is coming too soon. Normally the bands take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to come back, but you are
Mm.
doing it very fast. So that will be interesting, because the first concert did a lot of echo. So this time it's going to be the same people, but different at the same time. You'll see.
Mm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and some of the reason that we prioritize, getting back is that ourselves and our management, obviously made some very good relations with the scene in Colombia, and also in Chile, and in South America in general. And for us as well, they say we come from cold Norway. Yeah, I mean, we've had a long period now with minus 20 degrees,
Wow.
and like 30 centimeters or more of snow. So it's um, for us to come, you know, visit your countries. It's experience something else, experience the culture. You know, that's we talked about this a lot now that we've been able to travel all over the world, and everywhere we go, because we're metalheads, we all grew up on Iron Maiden. So we meet people that we have something in common with. And then as a bonus, there are cultural differences, and you get to experience, other culture, other food, people and the way, other climates, everything, but we're already connected in this kind of global phenomenon that is metal, so it's, the older we get, I think the more we appreciate how fortunate we are to be able to do that and to, travel around like that and connect with people through, music.
You are totally right. And I think we connect in different things, For example, I saw you going to the woods with your dogs, and that's what I do here in Bogota. I go to the mountains,
Yeah.
To get the peace of mind that I need. And besides, as you saw, Bogota is very cold, but it's sunny sometimes. For example, right now it's very, very sunny, but it's cold. So it's interesting, because the natural and the animals are very, very prairie for a cold land,
But also it's the altitude, right?
That's right, because the altitude, that's right. Because if you go 2 hours away from here to the coast, there's going to be like 100 degrees,
Yeah, it's a bit too much for me.
No,
so the climate was good, and we also went up to Monserrate.
That's right.
Beautiful surroundings, beautiful forest there. As I told a friend here, I actually when I saw that Gojira was playing just a few months after we were there, and I texted Mario and said that you if you haven't already, you have to go up to that mountain.
He did.
Yeah, and he did. Yeah.
Okay, IHSAHN, let's talk about your brand new album. You're going to have in February your new album. I already heard 3 singles, and let me tell you that you are getting to the major stuff, orchestration. What an album, and I haven't heard it complete, but those 3 songs, Show Me, Where Are You?
Oh, thank you so much. Now I'm very excited to get this album out there, because honestly, it's been finished, I think, since April. So it's been finished for a long time. It's also quite complex in the way it's rolling out, because but I will release this album in 2 versions. So it's like the full metal version, probably the singles you've heard, but I'm also releasing the exact same album as an orchestral version.
All right, incredible.
So it's like dual layers. There are parallel stories, as you might have picked up from the videos. There's a storyline that goes into everything. There's a lot of complexity. Atmos versions. It's kind of the most complex and biggest project that I've ever done. But it's all been worthwhile, and I'm very excited for people to hear the whole thing.
IHSAHN, your evolution is something beyond metal, from the last Emperor album, then this, what you did, you can tell that something was happening in your mind, and you did it right. Let me tell you that I've been following you, and it doesn't amaze me what your new album is, because you are a mastermind. And I want to know.
Too kind.
I want to know how long did it take you to set this new album? Because like you say, it's something complex.
Yeah, well, it was definitely a result of the pandemic. So and I think previously, it's been 6 years since my last full length release, but I did
the 2 EPs.
The 2, you have those still. Brilliant. Yeah, so them, and they were more like opposite. One was like very black metal, very old school with Norwegian lyrics, and the other ones was all proggy and indie pop, And when I started writing again, I wanted to kind of go down the middle, like kind of back to what the core of what I've been doing, like black metal band, but also symphony orchestra. And then focus on that, but try to elevate that, and challenge myself to do that in a new and bigger way. And But it took it's one thing was kind of figuring out the concept and everything and making it work with being, like the orchestra should work with the metal composition, but also separately. So it was kind of a complex puzzle, and I also took different breaks from the production phase, for touring, and also I did this EP with Fascination Street Studios, like an educational program that I was part of there with Jens Bogren and URM Academy. So it's like I was working on like bits and pieces over like the three last years or something. So but I'm if I'm honest, I'm super proud of how the whole thing came out, and I hope it will resonate with people. Although, but at the same time, I wouldn't have done anything different. And the most gratifying thing, and we talked about this old passion for music, and the reason I'm still here, I can tell you, I'm just as excited about making new music now as when I was 16.
Excellent.
And that's something that I'm very conscious about. That I never want to put myself in a position where I'm like, nah, okay, I guess I have to make an album like this or that. No, I just want to, give myself projects and, challenges where I am as excited and enthusiastic about making new music as when I first started, because, that's the only thing I can control. How people react to it, I cannot control that. And I let me tell you, I mean, the early Emperor's album were not necessarily well liked or appreciated when they came out, especially by the major metal scene. But then, time passed, and then suddenly people viewed them as important. But it was whatever people wanted them to be at the time. So you don't have control. So the only thing I can control is try to make the best possible album that I can, given the resources and where I'm at. And I never want to be bored or like mediocre in my approach to music. I love doing this so much, and I'm so fortunate to have it as my job. But if I didn't, I would probably still try to do this.
Well, that's why the serious music that you made is the best. The same happened to me. I used to be a musician, then I started working on the radio, and I haven't lost my passion. Every day I'm looking
That's very important.
I've been looking for the experimental thing, and stuff like IHSAHN for me is the best for my ears after all the years I've been listening to the music. I'm a person that grew up with rock and roll, with Beatles, Stones, but at the same time with classical music. My grandfather used to listen to classical music. So what you're doing right now is, like you say, is complex, because the history of rock, the history of metal have shown us that to mix the orchestral with the metal is not easy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's terrible, I don't want to speak about bands, but you know what I'm talking about. But I think that now with the sounds that you are crafting, you can really hear that unity between the orchestra and your metal mind, man. It's incredible. It's hard.
I appreciate that, but it's a matter of it. It's probably a matter of production, because I think a lot of people, especially younger bands who do, and I did fall into this trap so many times myself. I've learned from my mistakes. Because I've been in a big orchestra is a huge, musical, texture, a very dense texture, and a black metal, full on distorted guitars is also very massive sonic texture. And we try to squeeze those two together in the same small box.
That's right.
Both have to become smaller. So I think it's a matter. And if you were to listen to the orchestral version of this new album, and you can go on YouTube and find the orchestral versions for the singles already, and even like the first single, Pilgrimage to Oblivion, that was probably one of the hardest songs on the album, and it starts very immediate. but if you listen to the orchestral version of that, it's like whispery, quiet cellos. So
That's right.
oftentimes in the arrangement, when the music, the metal part is really extreme, the orchestra is more quiet. And then when there's more room in the metal arrangement, I get to do some bit. So they kind of take turns. So and then it's easier to fit them both in and not having to be both make smaller. Yeah, if that makes sense.
IHSAHN, you just went to the Mexico Metal Fest where Septic Flesh closed the night with the orchestra and the band. You saw them, or you left after you played?
I had to pack all the stuff and be part of that, so it happened so quickly. But I talked to Krim. Krim is a good friend, and he said they had because of the rain. I mean, we just had our regular lineup, and there were so many technical issues just with the cable stretches. All the cables were full of water, so we lost like phantom power to some of the overhead mics and everything, and it kept changing. And then I was thinking, man, Septic Flesh are going on stage with like 60 classical instruments, and I think they were spending quite a lot of overtime to get things. In the end, I think it really worked out for them. I talked to Krim on the airport the day after, and they managed to get through it. But I felt very sorry for them. They put in a lot of work to make that. But I'm sure for the audience it was amazing when they got to see that. And they are super talented people. And I admire them for daring to put something like that together.
I'm asking you, IHSAHN, because maybe you are going to do that, to put this album on a stage with orchestra. Have you think about it?
Of course, and I'd love nothing more. But I'm also very practical in that sense, and so that some people suggest like maybe you could do like a quartet or like a quintet of strings, but it's written, it's an orchestral piece, so it might look, all nice, but if it's not really actually adding something better, if that makes sense, if it's more for show and just for the gimmick, I'd rather not do it. And I did my research. I have looked into what it would take to do it, not only with an orchestra, but an orchestra that could play this kind of arrangements, in time with this kind of music. And I think just the starting cost to get rehearsals going would be like 100,000 euros.
Wow.
So it's not. It would be a very, very expensive and time-consuming work to do, and I would love nothing more than to do something like that. That would be a dream for me to do, but only if I could do it properly, and not just like almost. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe you have the chance to do it like in 3 dates, and you can make a DVD, and you can maybe do something special, maybe.
Yeah, down the line, who knows? But for now, it's I'm just excited to get. I'm here in the studio rehearsing now for new material for the live shows of 24. So I'll be ping-ponging back and forth between Emperor and my solo band all through summer, and very excited to bring this new material to the stage. I think it will lend itself well to the live expression.
IHSAHN, I have a countdown named the Top 25 Metal Detector, and I've been doing it since 1990. And believe me that the last 5-6 years, the black metal is on the top. Well, besides your albums, that all of them have been part of my countdown. I can tell you, for example, that Telemark was number 2 in the 2000. Let me see here. 20. And for example, in this year, Dode Hesmingard went number 1 with the Black Medium Current, and Slave I mean, I never thought that the black metal was going to aim a position that it has right now, and you are part of that. And I believe that you are one of the godfathers of the new sounds of the black. I can say black metal, man, of the stream sounds, and I want to thank you, man, because you
Oh,
really
thank you.
changed.
That's a very huge compliment.
Yeah, you changed the view of black metal, brother. You did it with some help of these guys. So I'm very glad that this is happening because it's smart music. You know, it's not music to dance or get high. No, it's so if you buy a record like for example, Angle. Hey man, this is a record, a serious stuff. You know that you have to listen to it, enjoy, I want to thank you for that,
Oh, thank
Isan.
you for saying that. I truly appreciate that, and it's all you can ask for, really. I mean, some people listen to music on the surface, like the
That's right.
initial expression, and hope that. But my favorite albums are the ones that I could grow with. That you would discover something new and kind of get deeper into the layers with every listen. And I always, I guess, just subconsciously, I always try to make my albums in such a way that they don't give away everything at the first listen. And it's an exchange. It really demands something from the listener as well. But hopefully, it will be a rewarding experience if you take time.
Totally, that's the way it is, and I feel glad that it's people like you that is taking care of the music and at the level that deserves. So thanks a lot again, Isan. I
Very
want to
kind of
ask
you.
you something. Let's talk about, of course, Emperor, man. I'm very glad that you came back with Emperor because people like me, I never had the chance to see you during the 90s, during the first decade of the 2000s. But you split and then you came back and you split and then you came back and finally we saw you. So I think it was a good movie. How's the relationship between you and Samad and the rest of the band?
It's better than ever, I would say,
Mm,
and not only in the band, but just the whole crew.
right.
We're a bunch of behind the stage, on stage, in front of the stage and sound. We over the years now we've built a culture within the whole traveling crew where we're all super tight friends. Uh, Everybody mix and match. It's no hierarchy, whatever. When we're traveling, it's just like a bunch of friends getting to experience the world, having some nice food, play some amazing shows, in some great venues, and have a good time. So I mean, both in the band and with the extended machinery that needs to go into that, it's such a smooth operation, and the our relations are probably better than they've ever been.
Yeah, you can tell that. I saw you in the first row in Mexico, and you can see your faces that you are enjoying what you're doing. You're pretty attentive to what Samad is doing. The drummer and the stage is under control. It's a good moment for Emperor. Let me tell you.
Thank you. Yeah, we and I do appreciate it, and I think and it's also something to be very conscious about, to make sure you enjoy it, because there's a lot of traveling. I mean, the Mexico Metal Fest, okay, it was a 36-hour travel each way to play
That's
60
right.
minutes, you know,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
and I meet so many bands, and they're like, oh, the fucking travels, oh, that. Well, the alternative is not to play rock shows at the other side of the world.
That's
There are
right.
a lot of there's a lot of bands who do that.
That's right.
Not play rock shows across the globe. That's the price, to pay. So the alternative is to stay home. You know.
I tell to I speak with my audience all the time about that. That they have to appreciate that people have to cross the ocean and the assholes in the airport. And all that is hard to play just an hour and a half, for example. So we know that, Isan, and we appreciate when you guys do that.
Of course, but it's part. It's just part of the game, and it's just like you have to accept that. But you can't get to South America or Japan or Australia if you're not willing to travel. It's like
That's right.
it's just like that, and there's a lot of bureaucracy, and there's vaccines, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And I know our management are working maybe almost a full year, to get all the pieces together to make this work. There's a lot of things that goes into it, but I think in the end it's really worthwhile.
I have a question that I already know the answer, but I'm forced to do it because the audience, and it's a brand new album from Emperor. Maybe in a year and a half, maybe in the future we have the hope.
Well, I don't really know what to say, really. I mean, if stars align, and I've been almost trapped in saying this before, because I've said so many times that it's not going to happen, and it's there's a compliment in people ask me that all the time, and of course people have fortunately a very good relationship to Emperor's music, and they want more of that. And I as a fan, I can relate, but then in my view it's kind of logical that we don't, that, I mean, Prometheus, I did that album more or less on my own. I wrote all the music, arranged all the music, and that's why we went our separate ways. If you listen to my music since we left Emperor, and Samot's music and Prim with Cyclone and Wretched Den, it's totally different things. We wanted different things. And if we were to continue as we were, it would still be me writing all the music. But I'm not sure that's what people mean when they say they want a new Emperor album. They want something, and then we would have to go back and try to work with the less experience of being teenagers or early 20s, and try to create something, and that it would be very hard to do that in a way that was just as authentic and with as much integrity as we want an Emperor album to be. I think it would be easy for us to make something sounding like Anthems or sounding like that, but who would really want a black metal album or an Emperor album that would made on the premises of, oh yeah, if we do it like this, we'll make a lot of money. That would kind of make everything that we did in the past into a lie. Does that make sense? And also, just on the personal level, I get the best of both worlds. I mean, we have the Emperor catalog. People seem to appreciate, what we do with that, live, and creatively, I see no limitations, working with music the way I do now. And has done for the majority of before I was an Emperor, I also worked alone, having my 4-track recorded and making my own music. And then I kind of ventured into bands, and that became Emperor. And then I kind of went back to just working on my own, which is where I thrive and where I feel I do my best work. And I think the way it looks now, unless something is, planets will align in such a way that me and Samos, would connect over some idea, that we both resonated with us, but I don't really see that happening.
It makes a lot of sense, man. I'm with you. I'm happy what you're doing with Emperor. I'm happy with your new stuff. What do you want to tell to the Colombians before you hit the country for the second time?
I can only say that, thank you for how you welcomed us, last time, and we'll do our absolute best to do our part to make this upcoming show.
Y de esta manera finaliza la entrevista con IHSAHN en Expreso Radiónica. La verdad acabó abruptamente, ya que teníamos solo 10 minutos y alcanzamos a utilizar 32 minutos de esta sesión. Así que muchísimas gracias a María Camila Carrillo, también a Diego por su amabilidad, y por supuesto a IHSAHN a la distancia, que pues estamos seguros que ustedes se dieron cuenta que está muy feliz para lo que será su segunda visita aquí en Colombia. Keep rocking.